Wrong button.
On this
Hello,
vote, the
and welcome
yeas
to
are
RickCast.
211, the
We're
nays
going to get to this in a real quick second, but I'm happy to have you guys with me tonight. I hope everybody's having a great Tuesday. Episode 150 on the 15th of July. What is this? What is that old thing? What is that old thing? What are you? You're going to see my bald head for a second. Oh, it's just a piece of lint. Never mind. Anyway, welcome to RickCast. It's interesting. It's episode 150 on July 15th. I don't know what to think about that, but it is what it is. We have a lovely, lovely show for you as always. I can't believe I keep talking about this. It's funny because there are rumors that Trump is going around personally calling very, very influential people in the conservative media space, begging them not to cover the Epstein story. And it's funny because the guys on Timcast last night were kind of dancing around it. This Epstein story, which I kind of didn't want to cover because it's been in the air for so long that I didn't want to talk about it, but it just continues to make news, and it continues to be a situation where the Republicans are just punching themselves in the gonads just over and over and over again. This is the Republican Party, right? We were used to all this winning. Now we're back to the Republican Party that's too stupid to get out of its own way. What should be a slam dunk, which is releasing the Epstein files, they've been talking about it forever, has morphed into this comedy of errors. And the fact that these people do not want to give this information up, and they're fighting you to give it up. And now the Republicans in Congress are fighting it. It's just absolutely crazy. Brian, the one time you're going to be in Temple of Doom, I got to work. I'm doing a kids camp this week. That's why I seem kind of frazzled. We're doing a kids camp around firearms at Sendero Shooting Sports. It's actually a lot of fun. It's pretty innovative. We teach firearm safety. It's not just that. We do camp kid games, stuff like that. Yeah, I'm going to be doing that, or else I'd want to at least see you, see what you're doing. But yes, this is what winning feels like. Having the Republicans be just completely shoving their head up their own rear and just trying to see out the top, because it's just absolutely nonsensical. In case you didn't hear about it today, the Republican Congress, your Republican Congress, the people's house, the people that supposedly work for you, blocked releasing the Epstein files. Blocked a vote to release the Epstein files. I will say it again. They blocked a vote to reveal the. This is at the same that Trump. Maybe we should. Well, that's why I'm trying to help you, so you're not hanging out with T.O. Thunder. By the way, I haven't seen T.O. Thunder in a while, and I hope he's doing well. He's a great dude. Both those guys, Brian and T.O., they are awesome guys. They really are. And just have a lot of I'm going to just speak in Scooby for the rest of the show, apparently. A lot of love for them, just like every one of the bar rats. All you guys who consistently show up to this wackadoo show where I don't know what buttons to push, and I just make a fool out of myself every night. But you know what? If I entertain you, that's all that matters. So yes, it is. It feels like it is PDF File Nation. It feels like it's just PDF File Nation. All the things are true. Everybody knows what they're talking about. And I'll keep repeating what I said the first night we talked about that DOJ memo where they were going to say there's no client list, it's closed. I hope this shows people that it does not matter. It does not matter. I'm going to put you guys in the overlay tonight. You guys are doing so well. You guys keep bringing up the comments. There it is. Keep bringing up the comments, guys. We'll keep the chat window open. That there is no exit out. There is no voting, hoping, and coping with this group. with this current system. It's over, right? Game over, man. We're done. You had everything set up, and it still is a complete and utter mess. So we're going to talk about that. And then we are going to talk about Ben Shapiro doesn't think you should retire. In fact, he thinks the retirement age of 65 is completely nonsensical because Shapiro wants you to keep working because money needs to be given to the state of Israel. It must be given to the state of Israel. So we have to make sure we all work until we are dead. So Israel can have their money. You're moting. I love it, brother. I love it. So it goes top to bottom. That's even neat. I thought it went bottom to the top. It goes tops to bottom. All right. Michael Thomas, if there is no greater proof that we need to go back to religion, that people who put their faith in MAGA need to turn around and devote their hearts, minds, and souls to our Lord and Savior and to his immaculate mother. I hope this shows it. I hope it does. I really do. Because there's no getting out of this. And then finally, we always do some entertainment news. We'll try to talk about some other kind of stuff. It looks like a production house called Blumhouse Productions. If you guys don't know anything about movie house, but they handle most of these horror movies that you see. Excuse me, they're the ones who are handling it. They're starting to lay off people, which means the great firings are in Hollywood. Superman making a pretty decent amount of money for 20, and we're starting to see the outskirts suffer as a part of it because of it. So we have all of that to get to, ladies and gentlemen, and more. Yeah, the feed's choppy. That's just because if it's choppy, I'll say it's a very easy explanation, Bellator. The reason why the feed is choppy is because my MacBook is working a lot harder. You can't hear, but the fan is buzzing. Unlike other professional streamers who use a CPU and an actual computer, like a desktop, I always run everything through a MacBook. I have a 2019 MacBook Pro, and sometimes when I'm running too many different applications, which I kind of have to, couple windows, couple videos, things like that, because it just doesn't know what to process. Used to see it in StreamYard as just effects and things like that, but hopefully as the actually what I'll have to do is I have to drop some windows. I'll drop some windows here. The laptop, Michael, this thing would take off if it could. This thing could absolutely take spinning. We're ready to go. So what I have to do is kind of like drop all the windows on it and just go from there. It's fine. If this thing ever takes off and I ever start making some kind of money, the first thing I got to do is upgrade the system. Just nothing expensive, just like a basic PC. I actually had when I was working for Mike and when I left him initially, I had an actual iMac, and it was great until it just was like, it's too old, so sorry, sucko, you have to get a new one. You know how computers do that. It's like, oh, it won't work this operating system anymore. Ha 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 ha. And you're like, come on, man, get out of here with this nonsense. So yeah, you know what? Maybe I should sell it to Elon. I don't need to do that because you guys can see it, right? He can give me, I don't even take 100 million. I'll take a couple, just give me like $2,000. I'll sell it to him cheap. Give me a couple grand. I don't need that much for just like a basic iMac, just so I can run everything through that. It just needs what is it? It needs a little bit more of the I can actually look at it when I look at the so I need a little bit of a higher processor, and I need a little bit more memory. I have 16 gigabytes on this and a 2 gigahertz quad core RAM on it, which is actually pretty good, and it handles it a lot of the nights. But sometimes it's just like, I'm tired, boss. And I go, I don't care. Work, you bunch of kids in China died to have you made. You better work. So I will apologize in advance if the stream is choppy. We'll quit upgrading the system so I don't have to buy one. Yeah, RAM is a big thing. The graphics card's a big thing. Just like laptops are not made to push everything I'm pushing through it. That's why I just need something with a little bit more space on it. So I don't know if this bad boy, which by the way, ladies and gentlemen, I have an exciting announcement midway through the show that I think you guys in particular are really going to appreciate. That I'm very proud of, and I have to thank my buddy Dean Oaks for helping me out with. But I'll wait till the middle of the show for that. But I apologize if it gets choppy. The reason it's choppy is the computer's just like, too many things at once. Please stop. Please stop it. So it is what it is. It's running like 6-7 things in the background too, because you have to run background programs and all this other kind of stuff. Anyway, we'll try to fight through it and give you the best show I can. So I will blame the computer if the show is terrible. It's totally the computer's fault. Anyway, enough yapping, blobbing, doing all that kind of stuff. Let us get to, ladies and gentlemen, some stories here on the this. Let's see. Are you able to can I screen share and do it at the same time? Probably not. I'm going to have to drop you guys off of that so I can get, come on, give me that. I guess I'll stop and redo it. Window, here we go. Just trying to work. Let's see. I got one for y'all. Let's get this. There we go. There it is. Can we get chats too? No, we can't. Oh, we can't. Is that awful? This is terrible. Can I make myself bigger? No, I can't make myself bigger. Can I maximize? I can, but that was terrible. You guys are literally working. That's it. You're gonna see mini me. All right. Let me know in the chat while you guys go by if you think this works or if this just looks stupid. I'm good with either one. I don't really care. Or maybe I'll just do that to help out. There it is. That might work a little better. So we can get everybody. Everybody's involved because it's inclusive and yay, and everything's so happy. So let's include everybody by doing on this one. So, all right. First warm-up story of the night is screenshot is in terrible. Robert, what do you think? I don't know what we're thinking. I don't think much. You got to tell me what you're thinking. You got to help me help you, buddy. I don't know unless you tell me. Looks good. Cool. Hey, we're trying different stuff here, guys. We're trying different stuff so that way we can make this as good of a show as possible. I like having the chats on the screen. So I might just do this anyway. All right. So, in a shocking turn of events, and I know all of you are going to be heartbroken to read this, the number of Canadians with favorable views of these United States is dropping, according to a poll. Can you believe this? Then the percentage of Canadians with a favorable view of these United States has fallen to 34%, marking a 20 percentage point decrease from last year, according to Pew Research Center. Oh, you're just responding to the poll. Cool. Okay. Well, Robert, I don't know. You gotta help. Yeah, you must forgive me. I'm just silly. I don't know. Anyway, so we have these Canadians who don't like us. The same survey found that 34% of Canadians now view China positively, which is, not shocking because the Chinese have been pouring tons of money, time, and effort and all these other kinds of things into Canada. And of course, it is becoming more socialist, as we see with the government and all these other kinds of nonsensical things. happening here. Confidence in U.S. President Donald Trump is at 22%, compared to just 26% for Chinese President Xi Jinping, the Winnie the Pooh, indicating a shift among Canadians. But then again, how many Canadians are actually Indians? And, Indians love Chinese people, I guess. I don't know, whatever. Laura Silver from Pew Research Center noted that there is now no daylight between the two in Canadians' view of the U.S. and China. To which I respond, who really cares? Who really cares if Canada is happy with us or not? I get it. They're right above us as far as land mass and things like that. And we don't really like that the Canadians are more friendly with China. But the fact is, they're going to do whatever they want to do in that regard. Yeah, Toronto is essentially entirely Asian. All the major cities are. Canada is a couple years ahead of us as far as like immigration and how Canada's culture is gone. Canada's culture is completely destroyed. Let's just be completely honest. Alberta is probably the last remnant of what Canada used to be. That and Quebec, right? Because Quebec are French and they don't like anybody. But this whole idea that we're looking at a hostile Canada, it's also because Canada has gotten a free ride off of us for how long? We don't expect anything from the Canadians. And the Canadians are more than happy to use us as a military blanket, as far as a lot of things that they use us for, so they can give out, universal health care and all these other goodies and trinkets that they do. And so it's an Oklahoma rocks, Bellator. I don't know about the Oklahoma part. Being a Texan, I might have to. I love Texas's attic. It's fantastic. Don't worry about it. We love you guys up there. I actually do love Oklahoma. You guys have a beautiful Abbey up there. I am jealous about your Abbey. You have a gorgeous, your Abbey up in Oklahoma is fantastic. But this is just a funny little poll to read because we're looking at this. On the one hand, it is not great. It is not great because Canada is it's our neighbor to the north. Security reasons, you don't want them, cozying up to the Chinese. But on the other, it's also like, who gives a rip? Who gives a rip? It's just, these people have lost their minds. Canada is literally just a nation of Karens. It is just a nation of Karens. Nobody likes them. The people in Canada don't even like themselves. So why should we like them? It's just kind of completely foolish in that regard. All right, this is RickCast. Like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell. Let's see if I'm telling you, I'm doing all kinds of fun things tonight. When I tell you to subscribe, ladies and gentlemen, woo, look at that. Nice little subscribe button. Hit that subscribe button right there. Don't hit that one, but hit the subscribe button to help the show grow, ladies and gentlemen. We are trying to grow the program for you. When I say we, I mean just me, but we're doing really good, and we have a really solid group, and I love hanging out with you guys every single night and talking about foolish little things like the Republican Party not being able to get out of its own way. Meaning, headline, ladies and gentlemen, we can give Canada Minneapolis. I would love to get people like Kennedy Hall out of Canada. I would love to get people like Kennedy Hall out of Canada. Kennedy Hall is a fantastic guy. I think, I worked with him briefly at the Crusade Radio Network. Fantastic dude. No bad things to say about Kennedy Hall. Excellent guy. Would love to get him out. And, unfortunately, it is what it is for him up there. He's a Canadian, and he's going to stick there to and he's going to support his country no matter what. And I give him props for that. So it is what it is. When it comes to Oklahoma sports, you guys are not great. Yeah, I don't know. You really think UT fans are honorable, Bellator? I don't really think so. I'd rather prefer Oklahomans. But it is what it is in that regard. All right. Let's get to our first story of the night. Here we go. See if we can look at this seamless transition. Republicans. Oh boy, your Republicans. Your MAGA base. You know, the group that can't stop winning. They vote to block the release of the Epstein files. What Epstein files? I thought there were no Epstein files. Donald Trump has told us there's no Epstein files. The DOJ told us there were no Epstein files. Donald Trump has been yelling at us because there are no more Epstein files. What in good, great Googa Mooga are you voting to block? And who is proposing it? Oh, Democrats are now proposing that they should release the Epstein files. And we have the Republicans who don't want to do it. And it's just absolutely misery because somebody dropped that DOJ memo, and now the administration is taking the biggest L. And you have conservative media like, hey guys, Trump's had the best 6 months out of every president of every day. Look at what he's doing at immigration. The economy is still in the tank, right? Where's G money? Too daggone high beer prices. Beer prices are through the roof. Gas is not $2. Even here, the regular's $2.55, $2.65. Diesel's over that. Premium's over that. I know because I have a diesel car, or I have a diesel truck. So I'll tell you, diesel prices hover around $2.99. The economy is not doing well. They keep talking about, oh, eggs are cheap. Yeah, great. Everything else isn't. People are struggling. You know, you have all of these other kinds of nonsensical things happening, and the Republicans, the MAGA group, are too busy smelling their own farts because we dropped a couple bombs on Iran. Because we dropped a couple bombs on Iran, we're like, oh my gosh, look how great Trump is doing right now. This is just amazing. What about Maha? Maha's not doing great. Just talk to Steve Cunningham. Watch News from the Pew on Thursday. It's not going to be fun then. And it's really ridiculous how, and it's not ridiculous. It's propaganda. Let me say that the propaganda that is taking place. Oop, I'm going on the wrong one. Let me drop back over here. The propaganda, come on, back to me. The propaganda that is taking place right now to try and cover up for the absolute, complete, and utter debacle that is happening here on Trump's second term. By the way, we still have 3 years of this stuff. That's why Trump really needs to get his act together, because they've got 3 years left. And if they really want this thing to make any kind of sense, then they need to get their act together. You know what? Votes like this. Yeah, let me bring it back up. Amanda, so you can read it. Oh, that's an announcement later on. Hold on. Well, let me make it now. I'm very happy to announce Joey Olivo is going to be, I'm going to interview him tomorrow night after RickCast. We're going to talk about protecting the church, him and I look forward to talking to Joey. He seems like a really smart guy. He's another Texan, so we're going to have a lot of fun. Tomorrow night, immediately after RickCast, I'm going to be interviewing Joey Olivo, and I'll announce that again. Hey, Mendez, look at that. Right there. Republicans block vote to release Epstein files. Right? What are the files? I need to find that clip from Zoolander. They're in the computer. We're Zoolander and Hans smacking the MacBook around because we don't have any idea what's in the computer. And here's your party.
On this vote, the yeas are 211, the nays are 210. The previous question is ordered. The question is on adoption of the resolution. Those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it.
There you go. That's the vote. There's the vote right there, guys. The nays have it. The nays have it. They blocked it, so that's it. You're not getting it. You're not getting your vote, and so too bad. Too bad. Hey, but guess what? Don't tell Donald Trump that. Don't tell Donnie.
No. She's given us just a very quick briefing, and in terms of the credibility of the different things that they've seen. And I would say that, these files were made up by Comey, they were made up by Obama, they were made up by the Biden,
Have you guys noticed that? I didn't talk about it yesterday. That was my mistake. Trump is now saying that the Epstein files were made up by the Democrats. They don't exist because they were made up by the Democrats. That's his line now.
We went through years of that with the Russia hoax, with all of the different things that we had to go through. We've gone through years of it, but she's handled it very well, and it's going to be up to her. Whatever she thinks is credible, she should release. Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? What are you doing, Trump? This is an absolute, his blind trust of Pam Bondi. And I guess it's just the fact that he loves himself some Pam Bondi. He cannot say no to them. He can't and he won't say no to the blondes, apparently 60-year-old blondes. It doesn't matter. Oh, she's hot. Well, she's an idiot and she's terrible and she's bad at her job. She cannot do her job, and she is single-handedly, because of her blind ambition for power, is holding on to this idea that she can work her way through it, that she can work her way through this actual, some kind of nonsensical defense of, oh, well, it's this, oh, well, it's that, don't worry about it. I have another video. I actually have one of the Blondie herself, of Law and Bunny Bondi, completely ignoring it. Now they're going to go with the old tried and true defense of, oh, well, we'll just ignore the problem until it goes away, and that is not going to work in 2025. You cannot ignore the will of your voters. Your voters wanted this list. And she went on Fox News and she said, I got the files on my desk. And it's been an absolute poop show since that's taken place. And here she is trying to defend that.
Yes, sir.
Is there disruption at the leadership of DOJ and the FBI with your relationship with Dan Bongino that is affecting the operations of the
No, I'm not going to talk about personnel matters. No, I was with Director Patel all morning, and we are committed to keeping America safe, making America safe, working with our incredible partners at DEA, FBI, ATF, U.S. Marshals, to do everything we can to make America safe, and that's what we're focused on. And today, we're focused on protecting our kids. And I would ask all of you, when
can't say that. You can't say that. You cannot say that. You are you have admitted on camera that you have thousands of videos and all kinds of things about child PDF and child all kinds of nonsense, gross, awful, terrible things, and then come to this press conference and say, we're committed to protecting children. Bull honky you are. Then release it. Release the list. Release the list of the people who harm kids. Now you got me fired up. I'm sounding like the guy from Glenn Beck's show yesterday. You cannot do this. You cannot come out and say, we are trying to protect kids. Look at me. I'm on Fox News trying to protect kids. No, you're not. You are protecting the PDF files. You are protecting those that harm children. It's absolutely ridiculous. Ridiculous.
When you leave, go look at that wall outside, right outside this room.
I don't care about your
all the
wall.
Fentanyl deaths, all the faces of fentanyl that you have done an amazing job putting up.
And Trump is signing off on this, guys. Trump is signing off on this stuff. And so this is absolutely disgusting. They said, don't worry about it. And now we have this article here talking about that what you just was Trump with this article from the Post Millennial. As my computer's like, I'm trying to keep up, boss. Trump says AG Bondi should release files of credible Epstein information. Trump, you said there were no files Like last week, you were screaming at a reporter, like, why are we talking about Epstein? Why are we talking about him? This creep, blah, blah. Last week, you said we shouldn't be talking about him. Now, today, you're like, yeah, we should be talking about him, and we'll release the information. What in the great Googa Booga are you people doing there? Is anybody competent in any way, shape, or form? Clearly, the answer is no. By the way, did y'all notice Trump's press secretary has stopped wearing her cross? Ever since the Epstein Files stuff came out, she stopped wearing her cross because apparently she's got at least enough principles that she won't lie with it on. I'll give her credit because Pam Bondi will lie. I'm surprised that cross doesn't burn a hole in her chest, because this is absolutely disgusting. Yeah, you're right, Lou. All credibility, their credibility is burning right in front of their eyes. And for some reason, they literally think they can, here's a bit of information. Here's not a bit of information. Oh, it shouldn't matter. Oh, we'll release it. Oh, let's block the vote in Congress. Oh, don't worry about it. What? Can anybody figure out anything to competently put this together? And the worst thing about it is the more they stumble around like a bunch of blind mice in a cheese factory, try something to say, the worse the conspiracy theorists, or the worse it is for the people that believed for so long that there was a list out there that had credible victims on it, that is connected to the halls of power, to connect to all these other things. And the fact that they are stumbling around and cannot a coherent explanation for what's going on just tells you what? That it's true. That there's something here. There's something here. And they're hoping, Brian, I'm going to highlight this because it's a great point. They're hoping that you are just so blindly addicted to Trump's personality, or you are so loyal to him in a form of idolatry, that you just won't question it. And the fact that that's the tag. Remember, I said it yesterday. I will repeat it if you're just jumping in now. This is RickCast. We call out conservatives. We call out liberals anytime, anywhere, any topic. Trump said before he dropped bombs on Iran that he can define America first however he wants it. And you know what I said? It was bad not to call him out then, and you didn't call him out then. This is the result of it. Because you were too cowardly, and because you didn't say anything, because you didn't want to lose access, Poso, because you didn't want to lose access, all you sycophants, Liz Wheeler, people in Conservative Inc. This is what happens. Hold his feet to the fire then. He didn't say you are representing MAGA. You don't get to define what it is. No, Steven Crowder and all these people were out. Oh, you're a bunch of panicans. Now you are in this mess. They got away with Iran. They got away with the bombing of Iran. So now they think they can get away with this. They think they can get away with this because they believe that they can get away with contacting their little sycophants in the media and trying to get away with and saying, oh, well, don't let anybody say anything, or don't let anybody say anything mean or nasty or anything like that about Trump. It's an absolute disgrace. It's an absolute disgrace. And you know what? They deserve it. They deserve it. They deserve to go down in flames. You might as well just elect Democrats at this point. You might as well just elect Democrats. Democrats are the ones bringing it to the floor. This is why Democrats win elections. They're the ones pushing to release the Epstein files. And now the Republicans are dancing around like a bunch of idiots because they're being outplayed again. So you can adore Trump. You can worship Trump. But for all of us with a brain and an IQ above lukewarm soup, and I apologize if that makes anybody upset in here, 160. A gazillion G chess. There's not even a dimension for this. It's a pocket dimension D chess. Oh my gosh. Stephanie, I'm going to call you out. I've called out MAGA before. Come on. Don't be like that. Rise above your silly liberal instincts. If you think this is the first time I've called out MAGA, I will say this. You need to watch the show more. You need to watch the entire Iran the Iran had, and you clearly missed the 45-minute video where I went after Steven Crowder. So that's what I'm saying. You need to watch more of my show so you know that's not the first time. But there is no hope for the swamp. The swamp is this whole figure. The whole figure. No, I'm glad you do, Steph, and I'm glad you're here. We love having you here. We do. You just got to watch more of my show. That's really the cure for this is just more RickCast. That's all it is. But the idea that, and you know what? I love my new camera because I can do this and it doesn't fly all over the place. We can absolutely state without a shadow of a doubt at this point that MAGA is compromised. There is, I guess, I don't want to say blackpilling. What do you mean not to blackpill? Bellator, expand on that, please. Or did I miss a comment you had beforehand? Oh, okay. I'm not voting for either of them anymore. You're so done with the Republican Party, but the Democrats are worse. System of government, man, it shakes my trust. It's trying hard. I got you. It's here's the thing, guys. What's the next way they're gonna wag the dog? The only solution, and I'm calling it now, July 15th, 2025, the only solution out of this mess. Chat, what is the only way? What is the only way Trump can get out of the Epstein thing? You know what I'm gonna say. My audience is smarter than I am. What's the only way? What is the only thing big enough the news cycle away from this? The Middle East. It's a war. That's what's coming in the next 2 months. If they can't get off this Epstein story by the end of August, there's going to be a war somewhere. That's the only thing they can do. Yes, Marie, that's correct. There's going to be some kind of conflict. That's the solution to every administration, Democrat or Republican. If there's a problem, didn't Clinton launch the Kosovo war during the Monica Lewinsky stuff? So and you know what? G Money, I kind of hope the Democrats win at this point. I kind of do. What have they done? What have they done for me as a Catholic who lives in Texas? What have they done? They've done nothing. I don't care about any of this other kind of stuff. Yeah, Michael, you are 100% right. You've been saying this all along. I believe you 100% that this is going to be the thing where if Trump's team cannot figure out how to its own way, they're going to launch a war somewhere. So it's going to be something to look into. We will have to keep our eye on it because it's absolutely it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. All right. Favorite, ladies and gentlemen, I would like you to subscribe, share, hit that notification bell show because this is one of the few shows. This is one of the few shows, ladies and gentlemen, that is not afraid to call out. That's why the tagline exists, calling out conservatives and liberals anytime, anywhere, any topic. All right. To our next story. All right, gentlemen. So Yeah, there's gonna be it just feels like a war's coming. It feels like they got to do something. So let's keep our eye on it. All right, let's move on to our next story.
And let's be real about this.
And that is Ben Shapiro. I'm going to let you watch the whole thing because it's only 2 minutes, and then we're going to go back through and rip it apart. So enjoy. I want you to collect your thoughts on it. I want you to watch it. I'm going to watch it, and then we're going to talk about it.
And let's be real about this. It's insane that we haven't raised the retirement age in the United States. It's totally crazy. Joe Biden, if that were the case, Joe Biden should not be running for president. Hey, Joe Biden is 81 years old. The retirement age in the United States at which you start to receive Social Security and you are eligible for Medicare is 65. Joe Biden has technically been eligible for Social Security and Medicare for 16 years, and he wants to continue in office until he is 86, which is 19 years past when he would be eligible for retirement. No one in the United States should be retiring at 65 years old. Frankly, I think retirement itself is a stupid idea unless you have some sort of health problem. Everybody that I know who is elderly, who has retired, is dead within 5 years. And if you talk to people who are elderly and they lose their purpose in life by losing their job and they stop working, things go to hell in a handbasket real quick. But put all of that aside, just on a fiscal level and on a logical level. When Franklin Delano Roosevelt established 65 as the retirement age, the average life expectancy in the United States was 63 years old. Today, the average life expectancy in the United States is close to 80. It's totally insane that you believe that you should be able to work from the time that you are essentially 20 to the time that you are 65, which is a 45-year period, pay in, and then you will receive Social Security benefits sufficient to support you and your family, you and your wife or whatever, for like another 20 years. That's crazy talk. That is not fiscally sustainable. The notion that if you have to raise the retirement age to 67 or 68, that everyone is going to fall apart. My parents are that age. My parents are not retired. And they shouldn't retire. It would be very bad for them to retire. By the way, it's disrespectful to people who are 67, 68, 69 years old to suggest that they are in the same shape as people who are 65 were in 1940. It's not true at all. Have you met a 65-year-old lately? 65-year-olds are not old in the United States. They're not. 68-year-olds are not old in the United States. Again, Joe Biden thinks he's not old, and that dude is running for president again, and that dude actually is old, and he's 81. I failed to see how a country in which our entire leadership class is 80 plus is telling you that we should have a retirement age of 65. It makes no sense at all.
Okay. Here's the thing. I half agree with him. Let's establish this. The reason why we have a problem with retirement is because we lost the multi-generational house. The reason why we are so desperate to have retirement is because families in these United States, including Catholic ones, have been more than happy to throw their parents into a retirement home. Now, I get it. Ben Shapiro is a podcaster, and he can be a podcaster until the day he dies, whatever that year is. For most of us, we work until a certain age, and a lot of companies force people out at 65 plus. Not teaching. You can work there until you die because they need it so bad. But this idea, that's the first thing everybody said. It's like, I don't really like the idea of a person who makes millions, as you guys are absolutely noting in the chat, who makes millions of dollars. And even if he retires and the Daily Wire continues on, he'll make money off of that. He's got a bunch of books that he sells. He is fine financially. This is on deaf ears to most Americans, and I get it. Because what did we talk about in the last segment? We talked about is the economy is not good. We talk about it when we talk about movies. The price of inflation and things like that is awful. And Steph, I'm going to give you a good shout out here because a lot of people don't plan for their retirements because they're dependent on, they're like, oh, I'll just retire at 65 and collect Social Security because it's been baked in. First of all, Social Security was never supposed to be a retirement plan. It was supposed to be a plan to help people down on their luck. And then it just kind of turned into a retirement plan. Oh, everybody gets this money when you come to the age of 65. Why was it 65? Because most people were dying in their 50s when the thing came out. And with the average lifespan continuing to go up, it makes it more difficult. Hold on, I got to burp. I don't want to burp into the microphone, so there you go. So my wife and I, we have retirement plans that are outside of Social Security. We have decided that we are not going to rely on it. You know, I've even talked to my wife because I have about 10 years into the Texas teaching retirement plan. If I go back into teaching for 10 more years, I can get another income stream. So we've discussed that, right? We've discussed that. And I think it's upon most people to not fend for themselves, but it also comes to the fact that, let me go back to, we don't take care of our elders. Catholics are the worst. Catholics are just as bad, right? You know, that's true as well, Mike. Everybody with layoff cycles hitting people, it's hard to realistically save because they'll have savings and then some tragedy happens and they got to blow their savings to get through to the next thing. So there's that. There's the fact that the price, you know, the buying power of the dollar is completely destroyed. Does anybody in the chat know when the Security Act passed? Because we're gonna have a fun game. All right. It was put into law in 1935. Let's see if we can play inflation calculator game. Because we love the inflation calculator. Get out of here, you retard. I don't want that. No, I don't want any of this. Google, stop thinking more than I want you to. Give me the inflation calculator, jerk. No. AI is going to take over. It can't even do what are you doing? Oh. Thank you. Can you give me it now, you jerk? I'm sorry. I pretty much half of RickCast is me fighting with the computer, trying to figure out what's going on here. Let's get back to my pretty face. So we'll come back to Ben in a second, but Ben is talking about this whole idea about the inflation calculator. 1935 was the year that Social Security was put in place. Let's go. Let's bring in the share screen here. Give me the share screen. So according to our inflation, yeah, Flippy and Google are teaming up on me. G Money. So $1 in 2025 would buy you essentially $24 worth of things. $1 in 1935 could pretty much buy you 3 tickets to a movie today. That's how bad inflation has become. And the idea is, well, you can't, I mean, I know it's blame Joe, but inflation has skyrocketed since Bush started quantitative easing. Obama continued it. Trump continued it. Joe continued it. The amount of money we give to Israel, the amount of money that every single president prints, which is why they don't like Massey and they don't like Rand Paul, because they're like, guys, you are spending us into oblivion. But the fact that people don't want to talk
and let's be real about that.
No, we're done with shush. But we have to acknowledge that if we as children, now I don't necessarily have, I'll give you 2 sides of this. I don't have this problem on my side. Both my parents died. Eternal rest grant unto them, O Lord, and let perpetual light shine upon them. May they rest in peace. But I'll tell you this. My wife asked me this on the second date that we went on. She said, she said, this is a little insight, and I know some of you have met my wife. She said, we're going to take care of my mom when my dad dies. You know that. And I'm sitting across from the 10 of 10s. The most beautiful woman I've ever seen. I'm on a date with her. Things are going well. And I was like, yeah, okay. And I still, to this day, we've talked about, all right, well, we're going to have to take care of your mom, or what are we going to do with that? And like my other members of my family and all kinds of other things. And that's something that we have set in, like, we got to do this. And the problem is that you need to take care of your family. The church is supposed to be there. And this is the problem with like Catholic charities and stuff like that. We give money to Catholic charities instead of pooling money in our diocese to take care of people. Or if you're a member of the Knights of Columbus, you can get an insurance policy for that. Any of these kinds of things. But this idea that you should be able to work past, if you're able to, that's fine. I actually don't plan on ever retiring. Even if I did go back into teaching for 10 years to get the pension, I'd probably still work as a firearm instructor on the side and continue to do all that just until, the end, until the Lord calls me up. Please, Lord, please let me get last rites beforehand. But the idea, I don't half disagree with him. I know he's getting dragged for it. I know he's getting dragged, and the reason he's getting dragged is because he's a slimy millionaire essentially dictating morality, which Ben Shapiro should never dictate morality to anybody. But it is a question that and I'm addressing Catholics. I'm not trying to be a Catholic influencer. I'm just talking to my fellow Catholics here. What steps are you taking to take care of family members? Right? What steps are you making it known that they will take care of you? Now, the Catholic line is, well, I'm going to have kids and they're going to take care of me. The people that I know that have a lot of kids that are raising them right, I'm not worried about that. But there is an assumption like, I have kids and they're going to take care of me. Well, you got to make sure you raise them right. You got to make sure you plant that seed so they don't just throw you in an old folks home. There are plenty of Catholic parents that are sitting in old folks home right now because of one thing or another. And so not everybody has access to the constant streams of income that Ben Shapiro does. And as I stated before, a lot of people that it's oh man, I don't even a lot of people in this union, because Michael brought it up and a lot of you guys have brought it up, between changing jobs and worrying about getting fired and corporate layouts and corporate restructuring. This isn't like it was in 1965 where you could work at the factory for 45 years and then get a gold watch and buy an RV and drive around the country. It's one of these issues that we just haven't adapted to. We haven't been able to adapt to Social Security because what happens? The people who are on Social Security, the elderly, they vote, and they vote in mass if they ever hear a politician mention touching Social Security. They will absolutely they will vote you out of office if you even talk about touching Social Security or anything like that. I would be fine. And my wife and I have said it multiple times, and I know this is a sentiment that will be agreed with in chat, that if I had the ability at the age of 25, 26, 27 to opt out of Social Security and take the money that's being stolen from my wallet and being able to put it into an annuity or put it into something else, I would be more than happy to do that. Because if you actually look at the numbers, if people were able to invest their own retirement, first of all, they need to be taught this in school instead of learning about like men can have periods. They need to be taught financial literacy. The fact that we don't teach financial literacy in school is one of the biggest malpractices we do to youth. And we don't teach them, hey, when you get a job, it doesn't matter. When you're 21, 22, you get your first job, open up. I don't like Roth IRAs. I'm just using as an example. Open up a Roth IRA or open up something and just sock money away. Doesn't matter what it is. If you're 20, if you can sock away $25 a week when you're not making them much, just keep putting money away, keep putting money away, keep putting money away until, so you always have something. We've never taught people to do it. Peter, you're right. It's our money and I want it now. We got to call JG Wentworth and break out of the Social Security slump. But I don't half disagree with him. Also, there is the idea of dignity in work, right? When somebody who's 65 is pushed out of their job, especially when their job is their whole life. Also, we're entering a time period, we've talked about on the show, there's going to be an entire generation worth of women with no husband and no kids who didn't plan on retirement, and they're going to be just out in the world. Now, of course, that's their fault, and I get it. But there's a lot of people who are just who were just led astray. And then when they hear Ben Shapiro talk about things like this, they're like, well, forget you. On the other hand, you're dependent on somebody else to take care of you. You're dependent on the government to provide for you, which is an absolutely psychotic idea. But a lot of people hope, and a lot of people, I got to get my pension. I got to get my pension. I got to get my money. I got to get my things. And it's like, what do you mean? What are you talking about here? And it's just silly that this is something that people are determined to keep. They're determined to keep this government dependency, this government hope, this government whatever. So that way they can do what? I don't know. I don't know, and it scares me. That so many people are so dependent on something like a government check. There's a Catholic boomer in that very position. She regrets buying the lie. She's got no kids, no husband. There's a lot of people, period. They bought the lie. They're not married. They have nothing. And then 60, when you're 20, I'm sorry, I don't have my misogyny alert, but wee. I know, I got to get a better one. When you're 20 and hot as a woman, and the world's at your fingertips, you're 21, 22, you don't care about retirement. You have the world at your fingertips. When women get into their 30s, they're not concerned with retirement because they're trying to find a husband, because they're trying to find one before it's too late. And then once that goes, then the realization hits. Like, oh no, I'm going to be childless, single, and alone. Maybe they're lucky and they have family members they can lean on. And maybe they're good enough that maybe they're lucky enough that they have family members that will watch over them, that will take care of them. Because if not, they're kind of screwed. Sorry to use the language as such, but that's gonna be the case. And it's really sad that this is happening. This is really sad that we have to have this argument every couple years about what about this? What about that? Yeah, and a lot of people put their money in the Wall Street casino. And then they go, well, what do you mean the market's getting hammered? I have a little bit of money in the market. I don't have a lot. I said it when the tariffs were hit. Most of my annuity, I got a small annuity. I got a small sum of money when my father died, and I put that into an annuity. I haven't gotten anything that, I haven't, my guy hasn't called me with anything death-defying, but I told him just slow and steady. We don't do anything crazy with it, but it'll be there. That'll be an income stream. I wrote a book. I'm writing another book. That's hopefully going to be another income stream, maybe somewhere down the line. I do firearm instruction. That's another one. I'm thinking about going back into teaching to get another one. My goal, I'm going to be 44 this year. By the time, that time period comes, I'd like to have 5 reliable income streams, not just one. And people don't think that way. They think, I'll get my Social Security and it'll be fine. And so it's really bad. Yeah, the whole dating thing has always been it's been an absolute mess on all fronts with that. because they're, women are told, don't worry about it. You're young and hot. You don't need to, you don't need a man. By the time they want a man, misogyny alert. Most men are like, all right, you're 30. You can't have kids. I'm going to go date the 27-year-old and I'm going to marry her because we can probably have some kids. And then it just goes. And so, you have those women, and then you have men who are single, childless, and alone. But men technically can, and just keep the misogyny alert blaring in your heads. Men can kind of muscle through this a little bit better than women if they're alone. They can kind of work through stuff. They can find jobs. They can find things to do to kind of keep themselves going. It's just a really sad situation. And Ben Shapiro's glossing over of it by, well, you shouldn't have to retire at 65. See, being old 65, blah, 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 blah. I'm a millionaire. Shut your face. Support Israel. Like, that's his whole thing. And it's something that, especially with an economically uncertain future, what is a good commercial industry? You know what? It's not going to be great. It's not going to be great for me to say this. That's why you see a lot of them working as greeters at Walmart, or they work as like they work at a gas station part-time or whatever they can. Or I used to work with a bunch of people who were quote unquote retired at the movie theater. I remember one guy worked at one of the movie theaters as an usher. He's like, I can work about 18 hours a week because I can't work over 20 hours or I lose my pension. So he worked 18 hours a week as an usher, and he'd be like, yeah, I'm fine. I just do this so I get out of my house. And it's just one of these things. I don't know what, especially with the AI transformation coming. A lot of those jobs are going to be gone. I mean, there's no room in construction or any of these other places for people over the age of 50, right? Like the way our American society is kind of formed, when you hit your 50s, you're like, all right, you got like 10 years till retirement, buddy. They kind of look at it like your end. You're done, you're kind of kicking out the back nine and see what happens. I even said it the other day when I was talking about the Paxtons. They can go into government. Who asked, what's a good industry? Elderly people can go into the government. They can go work at the DMV or something like that. But I don't half disagree with Ben, which I know is going to get me dragged on, but it is what it is. But at the same time, a lot of the problems we see, I'm going to sum it up here, a lot of the problems that we are seeing with retirement, with the elderly, is the fact that A, they don't have kids. B, those kids were not ordered properly. So when their parents stop working, they're like, oh, good for you. And you can go sit in an old folks home for the rest of your life. Yeah. No, it won't be first when it will not be swift, huh? Oof. Okay. Well, that's interesting to know, Michael. You're my AI guy. You got to let me know how fast or how bad or how good it is. So yeah, it's not something that we should be looking forward to. Chat's fine. It does that when it goes to the screen. It usually is delayed because it's got to go through a different thing. So, but it'll catch up. But it is what it is, ladies and gentlemen, here on RickCast, trying to talk about these issues. It seems like it would be an easy, like, slam dunk. Oh, Ben Shapiro's a moron, and he is. But I don't want to say it like this. He's half not wrong, which kind of makes sense, but kind of doesn't. So it just is what it is. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is RickCast. Do me a favor, like, subscribe, share, hit that notification bell. Help this show grow. Well, Noah was a different breed, man. Noah also lived to a lot older than any of us did. So we can't really go by. Noah's not a great template for little old us, as much as we'd like it to be. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's move on to our. Oh, by the way, let's get to the exciting announcements. I kind of already blew it on the first one, but coming up tomorrow after that's the inflation calculator. Coming up tomorrow after RickCast. Yes, that's Taylor Marshall's buddy who does security trainings. He is going to be joining me on an episode after RickCast. We're going to do an episode of RickCast interviews, and we're going to be talking about protecting the church. I am really, really excited about having Joey on. I think it's going to be a great conversation about what we can do as men to protect the physical spaces that we worship in. So I think it's going to be an awesome episode. I hope everybody sticks around after RickCast and talking about it. Speaking of subscribers, Lou, I want a huge shout out to my man Dean, a close personal friend, pretty much a brother, for hooking me up with this. What do you say, ladies and gentlemen? RickCast is proud to announce its first sponsor, tradflags.com. Tradflags.com is joining forces with RickCast, where I am getting all 12 flags from Trad Flags for promotions. We're actually going to try and build out the subscribership on this channel because we've actually, as far as metrics go, we've hit 3,000 watch hours here on this channel, which is huge because I never hit 3,000 hours on Daily Mag Dump. We hit 3,000 hours of watch time, but we need to get to 500 members in order to start doing some monetized promotion. So I'm announcing here, and I'll give you more details. We're going to try and do this for every 50th new subscriber that becomes part of the channel. They will get a flag from tradflag.com from me. So let people know. I'm going to let people know. I'm going to put together a commercial for every 50th member. They're going to get an opportunity they will win a flag from tradflag.com. I'm also getting an affiliate link, a promotional code that I'm going to set up later this week for you guys. So if you are interested in buying anything from tradflags.com, you guys can get a discount and that will help the channel. So I have the box. It's just because of this kids camp, I haven't been able to open it and take a look at it. But I want to thank Dean and I want to thank the great folks at tradflag.com for being the first official sponsors of RickCast. They stepped up. It's actually kind of funny. I hope Dean doesn't mind me telling the story. Dean reached out to them and said, hey, there's this guy named RickCast, and, he's been using your flag for the Sacred Heart of Jesus for the month of June. Would you be interested in setting up some kind of sponsorship with them? And he gave him the link. And most of you know Keith, who runs tradflags.com. You've met him at the conferences. He helped Mike with some of the video stuff. And Keith's like, yeah, I know Rick. Love to work with him. So we have this all set up. I have the flags in the box. And for you guys, I will get a discount code for you guys where you will be able to go to tradflags.com and get the garden flags, the magnets, the specialty flags, trad mugs, the monthly flags. I'm going to get a couple of these garden flags. I'm going to hang them up. I'm going to move the chalkboard behind the Sacred Heart. The Baby Infant of Prague. And I'm going to have the garden flags behind me. I'm going to have those hanging up behind me in the weeks to come. Tradflags.com. Thank you to Dean. Dean making it work, man, and helping me out, getting a sponsor. Didn't think I'd ever get a sponsor here, but tradflags.com is an official sponsor of RickCast. Kind of crazy, but on episode 150, it's good for me to announce we have our official first sponsor. That is tradflags.com. Big thank you to tradflags.com, and we will get the promo code and we will get all that stuff out there for you. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So tomorrow night, Joey Olivo is going to be joining me for a special episode of RickCast interviews. I forgot to turn the fan on. I'm dying in here. It's Texas. He's going to be joining me for an episode of that. And then secondly, tradflags.com. Big thank you. Yeah, so the chalkboard's going to get moved here, and I'm going to have the monthly flag is going to start going here for tradflags.com. So big thank you to Dean, and thank you guys for your help, and thank you to tradflags.com. Huge. The little show that could, man, the little show that could continues to surprise everybody, and I'm very thankful to them. All right, let's get to our last story of the night, ladies and gentlemen. Speaking of layoffs and the job market and everything else that we've been talking about. Last one. There's a studio called Blumhouse. They've done films like Get Out, The Purge, and other things. They're a smaller studio, so they're starting to get hit first. They're starting to lay off staff members in film and television. So this is the beginning of what people... I love the fact that Breitbart knows I've been looking at holsters. Can you tell I've been looking at holsters, guys? Anyway, the popular movie studio Blumhouse, mostly known for horror films like Get Out, Paranormal Activity, the Halloween franchise, The Purge. It's not a studio that does bad. It actually does okay for what it does. And so they have laid off as many as 6 staffers in its film, television, and casting division. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot, but you have to understand it's not a huge studio, and people are starting to get laid off. So a spokesman for Blumhouse confirmed to Deadline that the company, which employs close to 100 people, eliminated 6 roles last week. The cuts follow the disappointing box office returns for Megan 2.0. Deadline notes that none of the executives laid off worked on the film, according to a source with the company. Those departing are believed to have included large junior-level members and support staff with managers, creative development, and other things. And the problem we're starting to see is that these companies cannot maintain the absolute losses in the industry. So there's really not much to talk about on that, but it's just something that you guys should be well aware of. If there's more developments to it, I will bring them to you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. It's not an in-depth entertainment story. It's just something to be aware of, that the cuts are starting to hit multiple groups. All right, guys, that's it for this episode of RickCast Reviews. Please do me a favor, like, subscribe, share, hit that notification bell, help the show grow. I will talk to you all tomorrow. Tomorrow we got a doubleheader. We're going to do RickCast at 6. Then we have our interview with Joey Olivo at 7. We got a big night tomorrow, so we're gonna end it now. I will talk to you all tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. And until that day comes, free Dexter Taylor.